Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Money Mentor. Yes, my chubby little backside is back. So sorry, not sorry. You get to deal with my beautiful little head for radio again. Today we have a very, very special guest. It isn't Doc Wilson, who is a very, very special regular weekly guest. It isn't my chubby little face. But today we have Mr. Zakee Sheriff. Now, if you're not aware, they've just recently had the FBAA, or the Finance Brokers Association of Australia, annual conference and industry awards, which is a governing body. And around, I think, probably 10 to 12,000 of the 20-odd thousand mortgage brokers in Australia are all members of that. And they do an awards ceremony after their conference at the end of the night. They call it the Awards of Supremacy. I was fortunate enough, after about 21 years in the industry, to win this acknowledgement as the number one finance broker in New South Wales and ACT in 2021, and also the number one finance broker in Australia as an FBAA member, which is over half the industry. Now, I'm not bitter at all, but today we're going to talk to Zakee, who's just been awarded the number one finance broker in all of New South Wales ACT. But more importantly, and knock me off my pedestal, Zakee's also the number one finance broker in Australia. So I'm not bitter. I'm actually a little bit emotional. But I'm going to introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Zakee Sheriff. How are you?
Good. Thanks, Graeme.
What's the story, mate? You knocked me off my pedestal.
Oh, I mean, it's probably about time.
Actually, that's true. It definitely is about time. Actually, I'm hanging on to the past. It was a few years ago now, to be honest. So, but mate, I did on behalf of Beck, myself, and Bob Arnley and Faz, I wanted to give you a massive kudos because it did take me over 20 years to receive that acknowledgement. How long have we been working together? How long have you been in financial services for now?
About seven years.
7 years,
just
okay.
under 7 years now.
So in 6 or 7 years, you've been able to become the best at what you do in Australia.
Yeah, that's pretty surreal to think about it that way, but yeah.
How does that feel to be acknowledged as the best at what you do in the country?
Still a bit surreal for me, to be honest, but I think it's a good recognition. I mean, starting out with not knowing how to calculate mortgage interest, and when I started with Infinity, didn't understand how it all works, and just had a good attitude to learn and grow, and 7 years later, it's exciting. It's nice to have that recognition, and it's cool. Yeah.
I'm sure the family's very proud. The wife's very happy. I'm sure everyone else. I think you're being a little bit humble, to be honest, mate. But we'll get some of that humility out of you shortly and get you to talk. Let's maybe go back in time, because you're being very humble. It's a huge kudos. It's a huge accolade, and it's interesting that I've been able to achieve it. You've now been able to achieve it. We also had Ben, one of your colleagues in the Sydney office. He was a finalist as well in New South Wales ACT. So realistically, to think that we had yourself and Ben, which is 2 out of 6 finalists, I believe, so 33% of the top of the country were both here in our organisation, which I guess success leaves clues. That's interesting. It's interesting we've been able to replicate that for myself and yourself and Ben. What do you think is different about what we do here compared to an average mortgage broker?
Everything. I think that's and I think a big part of it is that me and you're super happy for Ben as well. Couldn't make me prouder. Is that we both came from having absolutely no background in finance. So what we learned, all we know is really what we learned at Infinity. So I think what we do here is very different. Sometimes hard to grasp from the outside to understand how different we do things.
Yeah.
But obviously what we do works, and it's
Do you think that's maybe a blessing that you didn't come from the industry and you actually brought in fresh perspectives, and you were only taught a particular way and certain beliefs and concepts, and you probably didn't have the old dog can't learn new trick? Do you think that's been a benefit or detriment to only learn one particular way and style?
I think it's been a benefit from what I've seen. Not call it carrying the baggage of the standard banking mentality.
Yeah.
And only really knowing the way we do things, which is, as you can see, what we do for clients works.
Well, the results speak for themselves because I had a look on your Rate My Agent. If anyone wants to have a look, I'll get the team to pop it in here. But I had a look at your Rate My Agent. If anyone looks up Rate My Agent for Zakee, Zakee, Sheriff, Sheriff, we'll pop it in for you here. You've had 191 5-star reviews within 12 months.
Yeah.
Within 12 months. So if you think 52 weeks a year, 150, that's more than 3 a week. It's nearly 4 a week, nearly 200. I can call this now. I have absolutely no doubt between yourself, maybe Ben or Rachel, a couple of our team. It's highly likely the top 5 in Australia will be yourself, Ben, Rachel, probably Infinity again. But it's highly likely that you'll probably be awarded the #1 mortgage broker in Australia, according to Rate My Agent. Although not if Rachel or Ben have anything to say about it, but we can talk about that later and let them tell us what they're going to achieve. What do you think the secret is to not just doing an amazing job, but creating raving fans? Because your clients, 200 almost in 12 months alone is, I mean, by the way, that's more clients than some entire businesses, right? So kudos to you for how hard you're working. But what do you think the key is for whether it's other brokers listening or anyone in business that wants to not just deliver service, but exceptional service that makes somebody want to leave kind words or amazing words about you? What do you think the point of difference is there for people?
I think the first thing is just being a good human being, which, that comes across in how you deal with clients, how you treat clients, and how you service clients.
Yep.
Having that human aspect to it, but also ensuring that, I think communication is extremely important. I'm no genius, but I think I can explain what could be complex concepts in a very simple to understand manner. And everyone's personality is also different. I think, having a bit of a laugh, bit of a chat, bit of fun, rather than, look, everyone has their own way of doing things. But I think that's worked in my favour.
So less serious, do you think? Do you think more practical and more of a human? You said you mentioned something really key that I've spent a lot of years working at really hard. I used to say I was a shit bloke, and I still am, but I'm working on it every day. And very focused on being a good human being, which it sounds like it correlates for you as well. Like above all else, be a good human being. But what I'm hearing is you're saying simplify things, talk to people at a human to human element, and take things that are really complex and convoluted and simplify them. In other words, don't make people feel stupid. Like explain it to them in an easy to understand way at their level. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, do you think that alone creates raving fans? Like to have more reviews as an individual good human being and win the #1 in Australia, 200, almost 200 5-star reviews is pretty wild. What else do you think is it about what you're doing or the way and you have an amazing team, by the way, so kudos to them as well, but what is it do you think that you and your team do differently to somebody else in financial services? Because let's be clear, you get home tonight, 7:30, someone's taking the time to sit down and acknowledge you and your team for what you've done for their family's life. And it's not 5-star. It's these things are paragraphs. These are novels that people are writing about you with their home addresses. People can go and see. They're verified. They're linked to RP data. So what do you think it is that you're doing differently with your team that's wanting people to thank you and share with others what you've done for them?
Well, I wouldn't be where I am without the team, so I've got to give them the props as well. I think,
True.
call me the face.
Yeah.
But there's a team that really puts in the hard work and, emulates, from what I do, leads and carries that forward through the client experience, which is obviously leads to the raving reviews and happy clients.
So it's a team effort, really.
Absolutely. I'm very big on, like, I wouldn't be where I am without mentors, the right team around me, staff. I am where I'm. I put it this way: I think I'm a product of the environment to a certain extent. Having
point.
the right knowledge, right people, right support, and that's allowed me to sort of do what I guess learn, #1, but also take and be like a bit of a sponge is how it was been.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments here. It is told by clients are dedication, efficiency, supportive, friendly, teamwork, helpful, and professional. So they're the clients' words that people can see on here. So I'm pretty impressed. So I wanted to give kudos to you for this and have a chat to you today. you're very, very humble. You're very, very humble, very polite, very respectable. Probably the opposite of me. I'm quite polarizing, so it's probably good you didn't turn out like me. I didn't teach you too many wrong things. That's good. You've grabbed the good things, mate. Let's talk about the journey. So let's maybe share a little bit of insight for people to make it real. How did we meet? How did you end up applying for a job here? Let's give people a bit of background on, I mean, you're the number one now. You're the big dog, not me. So how did we meet? How did you apply for a job? Let's go back in time 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, so before he and obviously I was in between different jobs, but I was very much in sales after working a little bit in the banking, in the customer service space at one of the large banks.
How does that taste coming out of your mouth now?
pretty funny, but a big part of the reason why I knew straight away I didn't want to be there. Like, I mean, I still remember standing in the elevator, going down the elevator and just seeing how depressed everyone is and miserable. And for me, I was
they're not filled with passion. There's no spark about what they're doing. They're just
not that I can see.
Going through the motions.
Yeah, so I was very big on, I mean, large corporations, like extremely large. For me, it just didn't really go because you're just a number in another place.
Yep. Just like a little ant in the city.
Yeah, making an impact. And then, just seeing everyone around me. I did it for a year. Look, learnt, took experience from it. So, which is a big part of obviously moving forward from there. But I knew straight away from then, sales is what I wanted to be in.
Okay.
Or, in various, industries similar to that. So that's when I started making calls and reading books and really educated myself through books. I call it the self-help section, whether it's books, YouTube, speakers, so that's how I started educating myself around sales. And then I got into the gym in sales, which is,
doesn't look like I've been at the gym lately, but anyway, once upon a time. Go on. This is actually a funny story, depending what you're going to say.
Yeah, so I used to work in memberships in Virgin Active.
This is at Norwest at Bella Vista.
Norwest in Bella Vista, where our office is now next door to.
Yep.
So started in sales there, which was membership sales. It was a really good place to work in the sense that I learnt a lot about sales, but I also met incredible people because a lot of business.
Do you think you learnt more about sales, or do you think you learnt more about humans?
People.
You learn more about
I made
people?
a lot of connections over there.
Because sales has got a bad connotation, but sales is really solving, right? People have a problem, and you solve it by selling them the solution, right? My health, my fitness, whatever. You're there to sell me the best personal trainer or supplements or membership or classes or whatever. So you learn more about the people in that sales role. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
How I started seeing sales, and everyone, as you said, can have a bad connotation towards it. But the way I see it is some people don't know what they want, and it's our job to educate them and guide them to actually show them that you actually need it, because some don't know any different.
Yep.
And that's how I always saw sales, is that they really need this. They just don't know it.
Well, they wouldn't be talking to you if they didn't need something, right? Yeah,
Correct.
they're talking to you. They've inquired or they're there, so they need something.
Yeah.
So again, I come back to that solving. You're selling them the solution. So, okay, so you're working in sales at Virgin Gym at Norwest. Yep.
So I had my best mate who's still there. He's in the US now, actually on a holiday. But we used to work together, and we had a little code thing because a lot of interesting characters came into the gym and business
I feel
people.
Like I'm just being called an interesting character. Anyway, this is
so
good.
one day we had a little walkie-talkies where I used to be inside, or if he was outside, and we used to call people of interest. Used to come into the gym. We used to radio each other, and he radioed me one day saying, "Hey mate, just come out for a sec of
POI, person of interest.
I've met this guy. Just come out." And I said, "Cool." I came out, and then there you were. So I still remember.
Car parked across the door, pretty much arrogant as hell, running late. Just give me this, give me that.
I remember it was you're wearing a polo, you're wearing shorts, and a gold Rolex.
Right.
And we were pretty observant. Like, we used to pick up little things, and my mate started talking to you, and I think the biggest part, and we still talked about, is that you were just very open, had a chat. It was just very, hey, this is what we like. What do you do? Started asking questions like, what do you do? You started talking a little about the business is what I do, and I still remember because we spoke about after you left, and it was like, this guy's pretty cool. Like, it seems like he's running a business, very successful. He's doing his thing, but you were like, come down to the office. Let's have a chat. Let's have a coffee.
Yeah, I'm
even
trying
though
to
you're
think
busy,
back.
super busy as well.
You were both very interested and intrigued about
Yeah.
doing better for yourselves financially. So I remember offering the coffee and the chat. Actually, keep going. I did offer the coffee and the chat.
And that for us was like, well, you know, you didn't have to call us to the office. You have better things to do, honestly, to then call these two random blokes from the gym saying, hey, come down, let's have a chat. And I think it was more chat with your GM at the time. Because you were traveling or something at that point in time.
Too. We won't name the lovely gentleman, but I remember at the time actually you had like an interview, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. Actually, wanted a gig. At the time, he believed wasn't the right fit. So didn't give me a job. Said no. So I said cool. Moved on to something else. Every job I've historically got, and I've chased it. It hasn't been through the normal.
You did chase it because I remember him going, oh, look, probably a bit young, not the right. Well, look at him now, number one in the country. But you did chase it. You're pretty persistent.
Yeah, even when I got the job at the gym, everyone in the sales team knew who I was. Cause I was calling, I was just like, have I got the job? So when I started there, everyone already knew me in the sales team because every time I call, someone different will pick up saying it's Zach again or he's chasing again. So
persistence beats resistance.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was about, I worked some odd jobs in between, went to a few different places, and I think it was probably 8-9 months later, the job popped up again on Seek.
Yep.
And I reached out. And
you peppered me.
Yep, reached out. Once again, all the receptionists at the time, it was Mon and a couple others.
Was Monica,
They knew who I was. So, and I came in. I think you were traveling or busy at that time as well.
Yeah.
You're super busy. So Lou, our current general
GM,
manager, so
right.
he got me in and said, let's have a chat. Gave me some time and very informal, but I think he obviously saw something in me and we had a bit of a chat.
He did. I remember him saying, he said, there's something here. This young bloke's got something. There's some spark about him. He's hungry. He wants to do well. He wants to help people. Yeah. And fast forward, here we are. Okay.
Yeah. Still remember, he asked me, are you prepared to work Saturday? I said, yeah, cool, no problems. He said,
are you prepared to work Sundays? Are you prepared to work an eighth day of a week that doesn't exist yet?
And I think, I like that aspect because a big part for me is allowing, if someone can see me for me, not for my qualification. Because I finished year 12.
Yep.
So there was no real qualification, so to speak, backing me.
You weren't doing university and saying, I'm going to go be a financial planning
Well, actually did do a year of uni.
Okay.
I dropped out.
Yep.
I was doing business.
Good fucking choice.
I looked around and I was really just going 1 day a week to meet the requirements and doing business, learn nothing about business, and people were just there just to tick a box. So I told mum and dad that I passed my first year, but I just didn't see the point of spending another 3-4 years.
People teaching business that have never run a business.
Yeah, so I was just like, I'm better off just going and working.
Yeah.
And some personal circumstance at the time, but
Okay.
So.
Well done. Well, here we are. Well, kudos to Lou who said there's something here and gave you a run. So well done. Yeah. And so that's 7, 8 years ago now?
Just under 7. I actually started, my first day was on my birthday.
Because
when I started, Mon got me a cake. Yeah.
There you go. Well, there you go. Thank you, Mon, for the cake when you're tuning in and listening. There you go. Okay. And what do you find most, because you've got raving fans like I did when I was doing your role. What do you find is most fulfilling? Is it the solving things at the beginning? Is it the building the relationship with people? Is it the when they get the keys to the new home? Like, what about what you do like gives you, when you talk about you get the feels, when you first meet your partner or whatever, you meet your wife, like what gets you in the feels at work? Because you don't just do a job. This isn't a job to you. You live and breathe this like I do. What gets you in the feels about what you do?
I think it's in that when we're delivering that strategy to the client and it clicks and they get it and that spark in their eye comes saying there's a way out. I think us showing that way out or giving that way out to a family that might not be able to see that way out, whether they can see it or not, for me, because, personal circumstances we didn't really have that advice, but when we were given that advice of a way out, it changed our life. So I think for me, that is the biggest part for me, is that being able
So
to.
when people got that roadblock, or they're stuck with the 30-year loan, or stuck with all the unsecured debt, so being able to, because you mentioned something quickly there, we don't sell loans for banks. We obviously we provide financial strategies around credit advice, and that's really important. So you getting the feels. What I'm hearing is the providing a strategy that shows a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's not a train.
Yeah, and that's just the start. But then obviously, then it's 2, 3, 4 years later, really actually seeing it work, like seeing it in its true light. And at the time when, I always tell everyone that I can see what you can't see at the start. You might see just some figures and numbers, but I know exactly what you can do, what your potential is, and I know exactly where you're going to be in 2 years' time. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, you can see because you've got other clients that have been there,
Correct.
right? They're just not aware of it yet. Do you think most people underestimate what they're capable of? Or not underestimate, maybe they just don't believe it's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone told me I was too young, I was too this, I was too that. I still remember when we were getting training, I had to wear glasses going and sitting because I was of the younger age, right? So that was a big roadblock mentally for me because everyone externally said, you're young, you're the, who's going to listen to you?
Your glasses do make you look older, but
It does. It helped. It made a difference.
Yeah.
So I did the little things to, have that, backing that.
Perception's reality,
Yeah,
right?
correct. So
You need people to take you seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they can take you seriously now. You're the best at what you do.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're not really processing it yet, but you'll acknowledge it in a few years.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And tell me, where to from here? You're the number one in Australia, according to the governing body, the Finance Brokers Association of Australia. And there's only two governing bodies. There's the MFA and the AA and the FBAA. Where to from here? Have you set yourself any goals or any objectives as far as career-wise? Where to from here?
Well, I didn't really set an objective to be the number one, bro. I mean, I think I was just for me, it was just doing the right thing again and again and delivering and having the right process and learning and educating. And I always believe that, saying, oh, I want to be number, like for me, the biggest change for me was when I learned to just do the right thing, learn the right way, focus on that. It will chase you.
Do you remember in the old Bella Vista office one time you come and you go, I get it, when you say to me, don't chase the money, just do the right thing, the right steps, etc., and just do it over and over. Do you remember that conversation?
Absolutely, because I still have on my laptop from 9 years ago, a little Mac I still got. I used to have notepads of if I do X amount, if I do this, and I used to plan and schedule and say if I need to do X amount.
I'll be able to pay this, or I'll be able to invest in that.
Never happened. Never happened. Only the biggest change in career-wise and just everything generally, personally, was when I stopped thinking about all those things and stopped chasing something.
Because I remember you walking in, tell me when I shared the office with Monica, I remember you walking in going, gee, can I talk about it? Yeah, I got it. I've got to stop chasing the money or the new car or the help the family. And I'm like, oh, what's click? I just get it. I really love what we do. I just did this for, and I remember you telling me at the time, I'm like, I think he's got it.
Yeah.
What do you think that pivotal moment is where you're like, this isn't just a job, it isn't about the money? What leads to that? What leads to that change to then be like, wow, I love what I'm doing and I'm just going to keep doing it, and anything that comes off the back of that besides the paychecks and just a reward for doing the right thing? What changes there? How does that kick off?
I think it's when you realise what you're doing is really making an impact. And then it's a matter of, well, how much can I do to help? It sounds cliche and everyone says, oh, you want to help, but when you actually genuinely do it and you do it on a day-to-day basis, and it's not for, as you said, chasing money or a paycheck or a number or personally an award. I never thought about awards. It was more just, how do I do the thing I'm trying to do, really be good at it and do it efficiently, effectively and consistently.
So you do strive to be the best possible you in what you do.
Correct.
You do strive to be number one, personally, professionally.
Where that lands up, I never planned for it, but yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, clearly it lands up. It lands in being the best, clearly. Yeah. So, okay. And what would you say, we get a lot of brokers and industry people listening, besides our Infinity fam, obviously. What would you say to people in any industry or in our industry that have been chasing money or chasing to be the best? What advice could you give them, or in any industry? Just maybe, because it's really critical. I remember that day coming, I got it. I've got to stop chasing money. It never happens, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to do my job to the best of my ability and help people, and it's really cool. What advice would you give those people that are not able to make that switch in their head, in their mindset?
It's a hard switch because I think I just woke up one day and I think a combination of everything just clicked. I can't pinpoint it to one exact thing.
Okay.
And I tell this to all even new starters here is that focus on being good at what you do. Understand first, learn, educate yourself, grow. If you're good at something and you're really good at it, you have no choice but to make money. It's just because if you're helping people do the right thing, it will. There's no choice. It will just have to come. But you're doing it in the right way, actually making a difference.
That's interesting because I hear a lot of new starters tell me a couple of months in, they're like, "Oh, Zakee really told me, he's like, stop chasing money. It'll come. Just be the best at what you can. Just look after people." So it does resonate. So I appreciate that because you're really helping other people. So what are the goal? Where to from here? You're just going to keep doing what you do? I mean, you're pretty humble about being the best, mate. Trust me, I was not very fucking humble about it. Where to from here? What's the plan?
Honestly, I haven't thought that far. I think I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I'm really enjoying training the team up. Even the new starters, helping them up.
Yeah.
I want to see more Zakees, more Bens, more Rachels. I want to see more of it. I mean, because I think what we do here is very different, and it's fulfilling to also see that, when you have that knowledge and you're able to share that and grow other people around you. For me, that's what I really enjoy doing. So, I've been doing that even with a lot of the new starters we have here, just sharing the knowledge and sort of giving them the road path that I got from yourself, which helped me get to where I get, and everyone else around me as well that supported me.
That's a good point. How important do you think it is to have good mentors in work and life and sport and all that sort of stuff? How important is that?
Massive. I still remember, even when I started, I didn't have any knowledge. So I sat down when you were sitting down with you. I was sitting down with Chris, Craig, Lou, everyone at the time who sort of were kind enough to let me sit in and share their knowledge and guide me. And when I made mistakes, show me what I did wrong and help me. And that's how you grow. Like, I don't think it's very challenging to be successful in anything you do or really learn effectively if you don't have the right mentors or mentor around you.
It's a good point. You can't, and you've got to make mistakes, right? If you're nailing it and you're perfect, you're never going to learn. You have to make mistakes.
And I think that's one thing I also told myself is that I'm not afraid to make. It doesn't mean you just go keep fucking up and making mistakes. But I was, make the mistake. If you do, cool. What's the solution? How do we ensure it doesn't happen again?
Yeah, learn from it.
But don't be afraid of doing and taking that step to try something. And because if you don't try, then how are you going to keep improving processes? You'll make a mistake, but then you'll figure, okay, I shouldn't have done this. I need to do this time. And I think that's how our whole team operates. We're not afraid of doing something different to see if that's going to be a better outcome or more efficient, because that's how we've slowly grown our efficiency.
You got to innovate. You got to test things. Okay, good. I got an idea. I think where to from here. I think you should. I don't know. I think I'll get everyone at home who listens to this. Maybe if you think that it would be valuable for Zakee to start doing a bit of what Graeme does, maybe, and helping with some of the education and the coaching, maybe we get you doing some of our free webinars or education and sharing your wisdom that's been imparted into you. I think, because boys and girls, if you're at home and you think it'd be great to see Zakee jumping on and helping some of you, maybe share the link for this podcast on Spotify, Apple or YouTube or whatever. Pop it into FaceSpace or Instagram story, pop the link in and tag Zakee, and we'll see if we can rev him up to do some education for everyone. What do you reckon?
It'll be something. That's probably a bit of a challenge, but I'll be I'm up for it. I mean, look, I think for me to be able to help and guide and share whatever little or large knowledge I have and communicate it, which can be the change for other people in whether it's their personal lives or growing their career. I mean, happy to be that little difference,
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got to be the most humble man on the planet. He's the best at what he does in Australia. He's still talking about helping others, teaching others and sharing with others. So we'll pop, as you've seen, we'll pop through this session. You would have seen pop up on the video format on YouTube, etc. Some of Zakee's reviews and links there to socials. Go and give him a like and a follow. Go and comment if you've had an amazing experience with him, whether you have or haven't reviewed him. We might stay tuned. We might do a version 2 of this, episode 2, and we'll dig a bit deeper into who Zakee is and how he can help you. That's it for this week's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you as always. See ya.